This right here, guys, is a very hot button topic, and that is, what is DLC? And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, Tarkov, Escape from Tarkov, which we'll talk about that here momentarily, is in a lot of hot water. But right here behind me is the actual definition from dictionary.com of what DLC stands for. DLC, it's an abbreviation for downloadable content. Additional content that can be purchased online and added to a video game as an enhance its features. This is the exact definition on dictionary.com. But wait, there's more. We come over here now, granted, I only did a semester in college, and most of the time they tell you don't, well, at least back in the day they told you, do not use Wikipedia. And even here on Wikipedia, right, which has a much, much lengthier definition, shall we call it, of DLC, downloadable content is additional content created for a video game distributed through the internet by game publishers. It could either be added for no cost or be a form of video game monetization, enabling the publisher to gain additional revenue from a title after it's been purchased, often use some kind of microtransaction system, which I'd be cool with. Because, like, nowadays, you can't even escape a game that does not have microtransaction out the wazoo. And on top of that, the other thing you also got to really think about is the fact that most games have their own in-game currency. I'm looking at you, Mr. V-Bucks, aka Fortnite. I mean, you can't go to a game nowadays and not, see microtransactions or even a DLC that has additional microtransactions. And right here, it also states DLC can range from cosmetic content, such as skins, to a new in-game content such as characters, levels, mods, and larger expansions that may contain a mix of such content as continuation of the base game. In some games, multiple DLCs, including future DLCs not released yet, may be bundled as part of a season pass, typically at a discount in comparison to purchasing each DLC individually. Now, granted, back in the day, you used to be able to buy, like, season pass. It would be good for a year roughly, basically 4 quarters. And you would only save like $5, if that. Like if the bundle was like $30 to or $40 to purchase each one, you might get one DLC for free. So instead of spending 40, you'd pay 30. Nowadays, that's like way of the past. Basically, you're going to pay $60 for the game and then $50 for a season pass. Well, $70 if it's a quadruple A title. This is the article right here in question talking about Escape from Tarkov. And mind you, Escape from Tarkov, you can't just go to Steam. You can't just go to the Epic Store to purchase Escape from Tarkov. You actually have to go to this developer's website to purchase it. So it's not like they have any, let's say, third party that's hosting said game that's taken, a 30% cut. I'm looking at you, Apple. Or, Epic, which I believe last time I looked, I think it was like 12% cut. They're collecting the full value by themselves. So I don't know what this is about. But there is one edition of the game that you could purchase for $100 that stated all future DLCs would be included. And it's like, okay, I see what you're saying there, which to me is not a good look, period, end of story. I mean, I also feel like early access games, looking at you, Ark, that still have yet to be released, should never sell DLC bundles until the game is released. Because it's just a mismanagement of funds then, in my opinion, because Ark had so many goddamn DLCs it wasn't even funny. Anyways, let's keep reading. Multiplayer tax shooter Escape from Tarkov causes much upset in its passionate community last week when it announced it will be adding a PvE to the game, but for only those who spend an astonishing $250 on the bundle. the Unheard Edition. This was made even worse after those who'd previously bought the Edge of Darkness, which is also called EOD. Like I said, I watched a couple people talk about this, and I was like, "What is EOD?" It's called the Edge of Darkness Edition, and has been told that all future DLCs would be theirs for free. Which, I mean, I'm telling you right now, I would be highly upset as well if I was thinking, I purchased this game, I gave the developer all this money because I really enjoyed this game, just for them to come out and be like, I need another $250 for single player. Well, not single player, but PvE, not PvP. Making a video game is so much more complicated today than it's ever been. Back in the day, you made a game, put it in a box, then people bought the box and played the game. Which I think that they have this misconstrued. I think back in the day it was more complicated. The only thing that makes this more complicated nowadays is the fact that monetization, such as microtransactions, such as DLC, stuff like that, that's what makes it complicated. Back in the day, you didn't have the ability to patch games. So if you released a game that is half-assed done, then there was no going back. That's a bad game for life. Nowadays, you have quadruple A titles that just get patched and patched and patched and patched. And just the developers, the publishers, well, the publishers mainly, because they're the ones that have to appease the stock prices and all that stuff. That's why I'm saying indie games are the way of the future. Passion projects are the way of the future. Don't get me wrong, there's still potentially some good studios out there. Rockstar, hopefully you rebound from the trilogy collection and the port of Red Dead Redemption 1 to the PlayStation, where you're charging $50 for. The problem is, it's not complicated. It's not. You can push a game and have a day one patch. You continuously push crap, and people are completely fine opening their wallets. That's why I've gotten to the point where, like, I kind of wait. But at the end of the day, it was more complicated back in the day because you had to make sure the game worked and that it was good. Because there was no redos. None. Nowadays, you get redos. So that statement I highly disagree with. Now, legal, like I said, potential legal terms and all that stuff, and, stuff like that could make this very complicated, especially with how the wording could have been done for that Edge of Darkness bundle. That was the extent of the developer's connection with the players. Now, things are at such an extreme opposite that every tweak and change is subject to court of unpopular opinion. Most usually because said developer is charging extra for those tweaks and changes. None more dramatically than the Battle Style Games' recent announcement that it would be charging for PvE in the hit game Escape from Tarkov at the bargain price of $250. I mean, this is the thing, is what are you getting out of this PvE style? Like, why? Like, I don't want them to, like, turn around and release this PvE, basically damn near kill their game just for it to be a massive flop, if that makes any amount of sense. Kind of like Overwatch 2. I feel Overwatch 2 was massive. I mean, it's not really a massive cash grab, but Overwatch 2 was just not needed. Escape from Tarkov has been in so-called early access since its release in 2017, with developer Battlestate looking for fresh income streams to keep the project going over the intervening 7 years. One such wheeze was now delisted Edge of Darkness, EOD, that charged players $100 for what was described as a season pass, and would include, which would provide all future DLCs at no cost. So it was perhaps not an enormous surprise that consumers really kicked off when they learned that not only would they not be getting a forthcoming PvE update, but that would cost 2.5 times more than the EOD to be able to play it. To me, personally, I've watched Escape from Tarkov. I've had friends that play Escape from Tarkov. This game, it's a looter shooter. You got to be able to extract yada yada yada. I don't think this is going to be a good look for him. That's all I got to say. As VGC reports, Battlestate's response on their Discord to a negative feedback posted was a bit odd. It ain't DLC. It's a unique feature of the new edition added. Well, why not just make that a whole different game? Why are you going to try to market it under the Escape from Tarkov brand? Just make it a whole different game. Like, there was a Rainbow Six, what was it? It was like a zombies game that just completely flopped. And, like, they marketed that as a whole different game. Why don't you do that with this? You can keep Escape from Tarkov as the name, but just make it a whole different game. Instead of trying to keep it under the same game as Escape from Tarkov unless it costs more. So the PvE doesn't count as DLC because, look over here. Look over there. There then followed an attempt to appease the EOD crowds by offering them 6 months of PvE. That's not the same. High priority matchmaking and various other features. But crucially, still didn't acknowledge that this was an audience that felt they'd already paid, and delaying the $250 outlay by half a year doesn't really cut it. No. I think, like I said, just make it a whole different game. This is dumb. On April 28th, Reddit post has delivered a reverse ferret from Battlestate with COO Nikita Blah announcing that EOD owners will now get the POV access at no extra cost. However, it won't be immediate, citing server issues. It says that access will arrive in waves. We don't have the server capacity right now before adding, and we start this process as soon as possible. Well, if that's the case, why even announcement? Like, get working on getting the servers up and running before you even announce it. Like I said, back in the day, games were way more harder than they are somewhat today. Somewhat peculiar, the development claims. Unfortunately, I somehow did not foresee the fact of such a reaction, which seems odd as they managed a feisty audience for the last 7 years. It's because they're looking at the dollar signs. They're trying to make as much money as they can. This is 100% a cash grab. And hopefully they feel some backlash from this, which they probably won't, only because they folded and they're like, here you go. You got it for free. The Unheard edition will still stay on sale because we want to keep the options for those who want to support the game more. However, now the promise prioritized matchmaking for EOD owners is gone to keep everyone in the same spot, says Reddit post, with a promise of a list of new perks to be announced soon. Okay? What a mess. Yes, it is. Then again, this is the same studio that in 2016 declared there would be no female characters in the game because women can't handle that amount of stress. Battlestate since apologized for that comment, but the game still includes no women, and employees DMCA take down on YouTube who criticize it. Hey, to each our own. Like, right now, I'm reading an article. They can't hit me with anything. We are discussing something. And I don't have any gameplay footage of Escape from Tarkov up anyways. Players who forked out the incredible $100 for the online shooter will now need to wait for the server capacity to be increased to support PvE. Which doesn't really... thinking about it, it really doesn't make sense because I feel like the people that are going to check out the PvE are going to be the same people that play it every day. So I don't foresee there being an increase in player base or foundation, if that makes sense, unless there's a different unless they got to partition the server a specific way in order to accommodate the PvE. And they're just being offended. I am being offered a 50% discount to upgrade to the Unheard version. So just an extra $120 or $25 on top of the $100 you already paid. In other news, lots of online players shooters are free. I mean, he ain't lying. He is not lying. But right there, like this is greed. Greed at its finest. Let's go full screen. I feel like this 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 company and a lot of other companies are like they're living out pipe dreams, right? I feel like they don't care about the people, they don't care about the product that they're pushing, they don't care about anything. They're just looking at the dollar signs. And in order for us as consumers to really speak on what we want and how we want this to move forward, we need this fucking clarified. We need this to be cemented so that there's no bullshit like they've pulled right here and be like, well, it's a feature. It's not a DLC. I've never heard that before. The greed, $250. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, if they were going to go, okay, this will be a different game in the Escape from Tarkov universe, that would have been one thing. But to come out and say $250 extra, even for the individuals that spent the $100 to try to help support the company over the years, right? And expecting DLC for free. That's just uncalled for. Anyways, you guys, I know everybody's talking about this right now. I saw Moist Critical. I watched his video. I saw, a couple other people talking about it, but 100% this is greed. And like I said, looking at the definition of downloadable content and then going to Wikipedia and seeing what downloadable content is, like it just makes me feel like there's something lost in translation. So let me know down below, how do you feel about this? Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think that they should just make a whole different game? Charge people $60, $70. $70 is quadruple A if they want to, die on that hill. And, just let me know. Let me know, because this is actually going to be an interesting dialogue we can have right here talking about this. Don't forget to mash that like button, comment, and subscribe. We're on our way to 8,000. I can't do this kind of stuff without you guys, because you guys are awesome. Y'all take it easy. Have a wonderful day. I'll catch you later.